The people I relate to most this evening, I know that in the audience there are some parents, some brothers and sisters, some family members. And there's a special reason why I relate to you today most closely, because about 10 days ago, one of my children, my son, graduated from Stanford. And unlike you, I was not able to go to the ceremony because on the very same day it was the graduation at the European University Institute. And I think, Rector, you would agree with me that that was one occasion that I had to put duty before pleasure, although of course it was a pleasure, and I hope my son will forgive me. So I am envious of you that you can be here on such a day. And I hope that you are proud of your brothers or sisters or children or family members that are graduating, and I hope that the graduates are thankful to you, because if they are here, it's also in large measure because of them. I hope my son thinks the same thing. He didn't say that to me. I want to say, so it's emotional. I'm living vicariously the experience that I might have had. I want to say something to the graduates. So the first thing is to echo what Miguel said a minute ago. When I moved to become the president of the European University, I stopped in some ways being a professor, although I still give a seminar and supervise some students, and I became, on good days I say an academic leader, on bad days I say an administrator. But I stopped to take count, and I asked myself, how many students have I taught over it was then the last 33 years. And I stopped counting when I reached 10,000 students. Why am I saying this? And then before coming here, I tried to think, in how many LL.M programs generally, and in European law, have I given a lecture or been a visiting professor or something? And I stopped counting because I'm old and forgetful when I reached 45. I want to say two things. For 2 years now, I have not been able to teach in this program. But in its first 3 years, every year I would come and teach. And it stands out for me as one of the best teaching experience I have had. And that's why I mentioned 10,000 students, because I've got a big group with which to compare you to. And it was special because of what Miguel Maduro said. It's not just that you have great credentials and were successful, etc., but there was something self-selecting in the people who came here that made them intellectually curious as well as being professionally ambitious. So it turned out to be really a joyful teaching experience. And the second thing I can say to you in a totally objective way, I cannot think of an LL.M in the subject matters that are handled here that has a better panorama of teachers and professors. I don't want to say it's the best, but I will say it's second to none. And I really can't think, when I look at the names, when I look at the program, etc., it's second to none. If somebody asked me, so in that respect, your teachers have been privileged to have you, and you have been privileged to have your teachers. Now I will say the third and last thing. I think that as you move into professional life, whatever the professional life might be, in public service, in law firms, some of you might end up being teachers. You know what George Bernard Shaw said about teachers. If you can, you do. If you can't, you teach. I really believe, and also the experience with our former students that I've tracked and followed, you will discover increasingly what a wonderful professional preparation you got in you got in this course. You will respect more and more the privilege of studying, for example, with Yandal Hussein and with others. And you will see that what you've learned here will serve you in ways that you may not have expected. But this program and this university are not only about professional preparation. It's worth remembering that law is, and we as professors of law try and make our students forget that in the first semester of law school. The word justice disappears from the vocabulary. And we teach you that every issue you can argue both ways, which is morally destabilizing. But I want to remind you that law is rooted in justice, and that in addition to your professional responsibility, you have a societal and human responsibility to be the custodians of justice in our society, in every situation. Permit me to give one example from my teaching, including my teaching in this program. In every single class I've given in 30 years, there arrives a moment where I give the class a problem. I don't know, let's say somebody fired from a company and suing the company for wrongful dismissal. And I turn to the students and I say, you pretend now you are the lawyer for the company. What are you going to argue? What are you going to do? What are you going to say? And somebody says, I will say that there was fair warning, and I will use this clause of the law and that clause of the law, etc. And you know, in American style, I say, what do you say? What do you say? And then I look at the class and say, how is it that nobody of you said, I will turn to the company and say, this was wrongful dismissal, we behaved badly, we should reinstate the worker. That's being custodians of justice. And a lot of students have told me that everything I taught them they forgot except that. So maybe everything I said tonight you will forget except that. Remember, you are also custodians of justice. Thank you very much.